Hey everyone, thanks for joining us at Popcorn Talks iTalk Movies. Today I'm joined by Israeli actor Ido Samuel. His 2012 film, Fill the Void, won 7 Israeli Academy Awards. Stick around to find out what it's like transitioning into the American culture of Hollywood. Don't go away.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talks iTalk Movies.
Hey everyone, I'm Zoe Hewitt, and today I am joined by well-known Israeli actor Ido Samuel. And before we go any further, where can everyone find you on social media?
On Instagram, it's Ido_Samuel. Facebook, my name, Ido Samuel. And Twitter is Samuel Idodo, Ido.
Sounds good, because I know people want to find you after this, and I'm Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. Now, you're definitely a well-known actor in Israel, and a lot of people think that Hollywood has its just own culture entirely. Would you agree with that?
Oh, totally. It's so different than Israel. It's like, yeah, it's got nothing to do also with the auditioning process. And, well, while you're on set and acting, it's sort of the same, but just the process of, like, all the surrounding be, like, around it. Because they're, in Hollywood, they're like almost everyone is an actor or director or writer, which when I got here, it was wonderful. It's like, wow, I'm sitting in a coffee shop, like, wow, you're a director, you're right. Oh my God, it's crazy. I'm meeting so many directors. They're going to be in so many films. Everyone like sending me their script, and then like after a while, I understand like, okay, everyone is like that. And yeah, and the auditions process, you know, in Israel we go to audition, we don't carry our own photo and resume to each audition. Like it's still weird for me to go to a audition and hold my photo and like give it to them, like you have it in your computer, why do I need to like print it every time? But yeah, you get used to it after a while.
And that's an interesting difference that I think people wouldn't think about. And for anyone who doesn't know, what happens when you go on an audition process is you take your headshot, which is your professional photograph, and you hand it to casting. So they basically remember you, and it's got your resume on the back. So in Israel, it's just always on the computer. No need to have one.
Plus here, they have it on the computer, so I don't get why we need to bring it, but okay.
This is true. Sometimes they ask, and a lot of times they're not anymore, which is great, right? No need to keep getting these printed.
Right.
And you're definitely no stranger to learning about other cultures. You played the role of Yossi in the film Fill the Void. Yeah. It was a 2012 Israeli film. It won 7 Israeli Academy Awards. It also was Israel's official submission to the 2012 Oscars and won Best Foreign Language Film at the Palm Springs International Film Festival, among a slew of other awards and nominations and festivals around the world. And what's particularly fascinating about this film is that it was about Hasidic Jewish culture, which you are not a part of, but the director was. So what was it like learning about a culture that on the outside people might think is very similar, but actually isn't at all?
It was amazing. First of all, it opened my eyes because I thought I knew about them. Because we saw in the news, the secular people, we saw in the news the way they act, the way they do. First of all, I didn't know there was a big culture of Hasidic people inside Tel Aviv next to my neighborhood, like a few blocks away from me. I didn't know. I thought they were only in one certain city, like in Israel, and that's where they all are. But no, the director lived like 2 blocks away from me, and they were really welcoming and really like explaining about their culture and like their behaviors and why they do what they do, why do they believe what they believe. And I thought like all the Hasidic women are like just in the kitchen cooking and like just respecting the husband. But no, this Hasidic woman was like in charge of all this film. She like wrote it and she directed it and she like was in charge of like the cinematography and like everything. And she was like did it with the most charismatic, most like gentle. She had like this soft voice, like you want to do like you just want to please her and like she makes you feel comfortable. And yeah, I learned a lot about that. So I went to all the Shabbat dinners to her house and like other Hasidic people's houses, and I saw all the cultures and all the rituals that the Shabbat have. And yeah, I feel I learned a lot. And I think also this film changed a lot of perceptions in Israel and in the world about the Hasidic life and the Hasidic family. And it saw the similarity between like all the cultures, like we all looking for the same stuff as human beings. We're all looking for this love, for this appreciation. Just because you're maybe Hasidic, maybe Arab, maybe I don't know, we all have the same feelings. And I think that was what made the film so successful around the world.
And that's such an interesting point, too, about Hasidic women, that you wouldn't have expected that she'd be the writer and the director and someone who's so powerful on set. And for anyone who's not familiar with this type of culture, it's the equivalent of a fundamentalist Christian religion. It's just the fundamentalist Jewish faith. So they do things like the women are always completely covered up. And what are some other differences that you'd say for people who aren't familiar with what we're talking about exactly right now?
In Shabbat, like in Saturday, they don't work. It's the time, the holy day, so most of them go to pray. Just don't use electricity. Just them with the family. That's why the Shabbat dinner is like the Friday night dinner. It's like the welcoming on Saturday, and it's this very holy, family-oriented dinner, which I go a lot here in LA, and I've been invited to a lot of these Shabbat dinners, and it's wonderful because you feel this family, and all of them are welcoming, like stranger people they don't know, to make them a part of the family, part of this holiness day, and I think it's wonderful.
And the interesting story behind this movie is that it's actually about a young woman who's married. She dies in childbirth, and then her sister is betrothed to someone else, but the parents decide, no, you're going to now marry basically your dead sister's husband and raise this child. And you play the twin brother of the sister who is now going to be marrying her widowed in-law. Right. So if you can follow that. So that's also a very complex storyline. Was it very intense on set, dealing with such high emotions?
No, on set was so family. Like we all became one big family, and we all were really supportive. And like after we finished shooting, we would all hang out together. We all went to like these events together and became really close with the crew, with the cast, everyone together. And we still really connected to everyone. I'm still in touch with most of the cast back in Israel. And I think that's why the acting, the lead actress had Yossi Aron, and she won for this role in so many prizes. She won in Venice Film Festival for Best Actress. She won in Israel and so many awards because it's so small and it's so real. And that, I think that's the beautiful of film acting. When it's so small, it doesn't have to be intense and over the top. Like, not all actors have to be like Pacino and De Niro, like pa 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 pa. Our acting is so small and so personal, and also the DP shot it like correctly, like so close to her that you can feel what she's feeling without doing a lot.
Everything just really came together. Now, do you think when you have a film like this that is going to be, of course, subtitled when it's shown around the world, do you think that subtitles take away from how people can understand or appreciate the film?
Well, growing up in Israel, like most of the foreign films and also the American TV shows, we got used to watching subtitles. But I think when we went to Venice Film Festival and went to other films to watch, this is like the first time subtitles like were in the way, because they show the film and then the subtitles were really, really down there. So either you like watch the subtitles or either you watch the film and you have to make a choice. But in Israel, we got used to like watch the subtitles. But I guess in the US, you're not used to that yet,
right.
And sometimes that's why you want to dub it or like remake it as an American version.
It is. Sometimes people feel like they really have to commit if they want to watch a film with subtitles, and I think there's this stigma attached.
And you miss so many beautiful films. Like I'm a big fan of foreign films, French films. Like it's art. It's like you need to watch it, you need to get used to it, and it's open your mind to so many worlds, and like fill the void, open your mind to like the culture of the Hasidic families. Like foreign film, you see like other people in other countries, and I think it's beautiful. And that's the power of cinema.
Exactly. It's the best way to learn about other cultures, especially when you have a film that's coming right out of that culture. It's not like the American interpretation of something else.
Yeah.
And did working on a religiously observant film make you more religious yourself?
Not quite, but it made me think a lot. I believe in God. It didn't make me more religious. I still drive on Saturday night. I still I try to eat kosher as much as I can, but it didn't make me so much more religious.
And what do you think, now that you're working here in the U.S., living and working, what do you think is the biggest difference in acting style, or is there a big difference?
I don't think there's a difference. Acting is acting in every country. Like, there are different actors in Israel, there are different actors here. Every actor acts in a certain way, every director works in a certain way, and every time you try to adjust to like the film you're in. every time you try to use different methods. Maybe that's the difference. Like here I hear a lot of like, actors ask me, so what method do you use? And they name it. I use Streisberg, I use Meisner. And we don't name it so much because like we mix a lot. Like in the acting school I went to, it's like 14 hours a day for 6 days a week. And like every class is something else, but they don't tell us like this is Stanislavski, this is that, and you need to use that. You take a little bit of everything, and then like when you go to set or when you go to stage, you choose what to use with the help of the director, of course.
So that's interesting too, because it means you really pick what works for you in a particular situation. There's not like a one size fits all to your acting style.
Yeah, and it can change like when you're on set and when you start feeling like, oh, what I used in rehearsal and worked for me is not working for me now. I need to let go. I need to be in the moment and just be welcoming of whatever comes.
Well, it seems like that would make you a very versatile actor as well.
I would hope so.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
So, you just tweeted recently a really interesting tweet that you got asked by casting if you could do an Israeli accent.
Yeah.
Which is so funny, right? You can't win for losing.
Right.
So what did they want from you?
Yeah, I know. I've been working on my accent a lot because I get called for American roles. And I try to do an American accent, and then they say, okay, do your American accent. I'm like, I thought I just did. So, I'm working on it really hard, but it's been improving a lot. Like when I just got to the US, my grades in English in Israel were perfect. Like I didn't have to do a lot of exams because like my grade. So I thought I'm going to come here like, oh, it's going to get all the American roles, the Israeli role, the French role, everything. Then I got here, like no one understood what I was saying. Every time like, what are you saying? I did like these foolish mistakes, like calling to somebody in an apartment. And then like say, hey, so you have like clean sheets on your bed? I'm like, what? Clean sheets? Ah, you mean sheets? Yeah, sheets. I'm coming to LA and ask them like, how do I get to the beach? To what? To the beach? To the beach? Oh yeah, like small mistake like that. But yeah, you get used to it little by little. And but when I went to this audition for the film we started shooting tomorrow, I'm playing this Israeli, a stretch. And like in Israel you get kidnapped, also a stretch. Like most of the roles I did in Israel were either a soldier or a settler or religious person, and a lot of them got kidnapped. Plus I did like a campaign as an actor for the Israeli army as a kidnapped soldier. And now I had to fly all the way to the US to do the same role. So I'm a soldier who get kidnapped again in the US as in Israel.
Like again.
The typecast is like chasing after me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And incidentally, they're the ones who didn't think that you had a thick enough Israeli accent.
Yeah, so in the audition, I did my regular accent, and the director said, "Can you do an Israeli accent?" And I'm like, "What? An Israeli accent?" So I tried to like remember how I talked before I started working on it really hard, and it's just like we talk really fast. We don't use about blah blah blah. You don't understand what I'm saying, and it's like the slang, the rhythm is so different. So yeah, I'm working on my Israeli accent now.
You always have to work on something, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so funny to me that we always think of accents as, you go somewhere else and it's amazing that you can speak another language and hey, it's great to hear this accent. And then to be told that your own accent isn't even enough of your own accent. It's like, oh, can't believe it.
That's the story of my life. Nice, good enough. But yeah.
Well, it's interesting. This film that you're doing, it was funded on Indiegogo.
Yeah, it still is. Like we reached the goal, but we still try to make it as best as we can, so we still can raise money. So it's great.
And you guys are actually starting to shoot tomorrow, but it's called The Eyes of Men.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about this project? It's got a really interesting plotline.
Of course. The story basically is an American guy, a Jewish American guy, who comes to Israel in a goal to join the Israeli army. And he comes to visit my family. I'm an Israeli, lives in a settlement. And something happened in the settlement a few days ago that a family got murdered by this Palestinian terrorist, and my character is so full of revenge because I knew the people, and I'm like lecturing about it, and then like I'm showing them around town, and we get kidnapped, but by two Palestinian, and then in the cab you hear the side of the story of the Palestinians, like why they do what they do. So in a way, the American becomes a fly on the wall to hear both cries of both sides of the story. And in the film is being created in a way that there's no right and wrong to the story. each side think is right and the other one is wrong, and they want to put a mirror, but when you put two mirrors like in front of each other, it becomes infinity. So we try to deliver a message in the film, and hopefully it will be delivered. If not, just the creating of this film, because I'm Israeli, we have a Palestinian actor, Samir Bishrat, was in the best, his film Omar was nominated for Palestine as best picture in the Oscars. So just sitting together with the American director and an American actor, all together trying to create something together, I think this process is amazing. And first, like me and Samar, the Palestinian actor, we relate to each other the most. Most of the time, can understand the American culture when the Americans are together. So me and Samar like talking together, and I think just that, it's amazing. And yeah, the film, the script is amazing. The director, Daniel Yonatan, is one of the most talented directors I ever worked with. He's really young, he's like 23, but he also already created a few stuff for Eli Roth and for Tarantino, and like they marked him as like the next big thing. And if you see the stuff, it's like it's amazing. So I have high hopes for this film. So yeah.
And we always hear, too, that if people could just get together and talk, that there would be a lot less conflict. So it's interesting that they have cast an Israeli actor and they actually cast a Palestinian actor. And so you guys are acting together, sitting in that car. So have you already been in touch with your family? Did they say, what are you doing? Or was it more of a supportive feel?
No, it was very supportive, because basically we all want peace. We all want the war to stop. We all need to sit and talk, and that's the main thing, and that's what was great about this film. And of course, each side, like, I don't want to be like the spokesperson for the peace, and I know that a lot of like hurts from all sides, but just from like sitting with the Palestinian, working, creating art together, I think from art the peace will come, especially from like this kind of film. Like when you sit and talk, see, there's nothing so much different between us. We can create something together. And that's why I think and hope this film will arouse question. And I'm sure there are going to be like people who say, no, you created like this film is anti-Palestine. No, this film is anti-Israeli, of course. But me and him sat and we agreed about a few stuff. And the film is just like about humanity. And to show us like how similar we are. And the film end, I won't say the ending, because it will ruin whoever want to watch the film, but the end is created in a way that you see there's no wrong and right, and we all equal. And yeah.
Which is, I think, the best type of film that can make you think without being maybe like an over the head, hitting you, pounding you down.
There's no lectures in the film. There's no like long monologues. Yeah, we did this and this. No, this is what's great about the director, that he knows to make it without lecturing the audience. We know the audience is smart. We know the audience knows what's happening, but we let them see the humanity in all of that. And yeah, so that's why we still like try to collect. We reached the goal in Indiegogo, but we try to make it as much as we can. So Indiegogo let us like still get money if we can. So if anyone want to donate to that, it would be great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you guys can go and look it up on Indiegogo as well and still contribute.
Eyes of Man. Yeah.
And it is interesting, like you mentioned, that in Israel you were part of a campaign for the Israeli Defense Forces where you played a kidnapped soldier. And what this was, and of course this is not a political show, so we're not going to go there, but the explanation behind this campaign is that there were lots of threats from terror groups for kidnapping Israeli soldiers. And so this campaign was basically to tell Israeli soldiers, hey, don't get in cars with strangers, it's not safe. And as someone who served in the military yourself, was that especially difficult and emotional to do that role?
It wasn't so much difficult as I felt like it was important to this campaign. I didn't want to hurt any one of like the families of the people who got kidnapped, to say, oh, we use it now to a campaign. But I really wanted to bring authenticity, truth to that, and to really make an effect. And luckily, we've been able to do that. So, like, the campaign was originally supposed to be just a small viral video, and then it became like billboards and radio station and TVs, and like they shot it in a way that it looked like a real soldier got kidnapped. But then right before we released it, so no, it looked too real. We need to add another part. So then we added another part of me explaining I'm an actor. I'm not really a kidnapped soldier.
Wow.
Because people started to believe it's a real soldier who got kidnapped, and people started to worry.
Wow, that's interesting. And I watched it, and of course I couldn't understand it, but I watched it, and I saw at the end where you were talking clearly like more as an actor to the camera. So that's interesting that it was too emotional for people even.
Yeah, so we wanted to add this other part.
And this was before you became famous through Fill the Void as well, right?
It was right after, like it all came together, and like when I started to get recognized for my work, I left Israel and came here. But yeah.
And so were people recognizing you? I mean, you were on billboards all over the country.
Yeah, but it was like a kidnapped soldier, and some of them like I was covered like with like a sack or something. So some do. Some people go, you look familiar. I know. Yeah, I'm the kidnapped soldier from the radio, from the TV. Yeah.
Right. Which is, I guess, still a claim to fame, right?
Yeah, some actors get like campaigns for like jeans, for like shirts, and I get a campaign for a kidnapped soldier. But what can you do?
Well, it's something that I think here in the U.S. we have a hard time wrapping our brain around, understanding that in Israel you grow up knowing that you will spend time in the army, and it's 3 years, right, for men?
It's mandatory, yeah.
And so when you served, did that, I guess, put a pause in your acting career? Did you have to, were you able to balance the two, or it's full-time, you're in the army? It's
full-time, yeah. It's right after the high school, you're 18, you have to go to the army. So before I even could have started like my acting career, I needed to go to the army and do stuff that I didn't really wanted to do, but I had to serve the country for 3 years. And I feel like it added a lot of value to me as a person, and it made me appreciate a lot of stuff in life and not take stuff for granted. And also for my acting, I think it's added a lot because first of all, you meet so many kinds of people that you wouldn't meet otherwise, because you meet certain people like in school and high school, which is like in your area in your city, and then in the army, they take people from all over Israel and they put them together, and we have to get along because we're all together. So you meet like different kind of people, and as an actor, like as people watcher, it's beautiful to watch. And also you see stuff that you wouldn't see, like just finishing high school and going to acting school. You actually live stuff that you wouldn't otherwise live, and see stuff that say, oh wow, life can be that difficult, that hard. And when you do finish the army, most of us, especially if they've been in like this really combat unit or something, and they saw stuff, most of us like wants to take like a year off and go to travel. So most of us like starting our acting career or whatever, starting studying like around 25, 26. So you start like the acting career like really late. But then I think it's add value for all the filmmakers and like the actors also.
And that's fascinating, right? That whereas here, sometimes I think people believe, oh, you haven't started yet. That in Israel, it's completely different. It's the opposite, because you aren't starting at the same time. You're continuing. And so it seems like thinking of joining the military is the equivalent of, say, completing your high school. Like it's there, you have to do it. It doesn't matter if you want to or don't. It doesn't matter, if you want to go to your English class that day. It's just part of what's expected of you.
Yeah.
And so because of that, do you think that families are more, I guess, like accepting, knowing that, oh, you have to go off, versus here where sometimes it's more, oh, no, you're going into the military. It's a different feel.
Yeah, it's all of our parents were in the army also, so they know it's a part of that. All of them wish, when I was a little kid, they wished that when I'll be 18, there won't be need for any army, and there's going to be peace. And every time we have people with kids, they're hoping that there won't be any armies. But they know there's the army. Well, like if we didn't have any army, we'll be destroyed because we're so small, and everybody around us like want us to destroy it. So you have to be tough, and hopefully soon there won't be a need for any army. But
absolutely, and hopefully you can take that extra bit of toughness and strength that you learned and you gathered and put it also more towards your acting, and more determined
and
as well.
The acting life, you have to have thick skin, especially in this business, and there's going to be like a lot of people, tough people, and when you're the product, so a lot of people like criticize you, and like even not about your talent. It's like, oh, you look like that, oh, your hair is like that, oh, you need to put muscle, oh, you need to do that, and you have to be strong. And I think that's what also the army like added to my life. Like this industry is like, I've been down, I've been up like so many times. It's like a roller coaster, but it helped me like to stay focused,
And even when you're up, there's still a down.
Always,
it's
always. The
yes.
universe always balances it. You know,
Yes.
like every time I book, I get something big and good, something bad happens.
Well, let's hope it doesn't continue quite so much like that.
Yeah, but that's life, you know.
That's right. And next up for you is actually a feature film that's a comedy. So
Yeah.
it's one of your first experiences, right, doing a comedy. It's it's introducing Jodea.
Yes.
And I said that right, correct?
perfect.
Oh, good, because I was practicing beforehand just to make sure. So how would you summarize the plot? It's your first comedy feature film.
Yeah, the plot. It's about this actress who comes to Hollywood and dreams to become a famous actress, and she's this like clumsy girl. And one day she's a waiter, of course, as every like beginning actor,
Right.
and she's crashing the car of this big famous director, and they get to a settlement. He says he's gonna give her a small part in his film, and in his film that he's directing, in the film, I'm the lead actor, and I'm this douchebag actor, making her life like miserable, and she ended up like falling in love with the director, and the script is one of the funniest scripts I read. It's like so beautiful written. Like when I read it, they invited me to just for a table with a few other actors. And just by reading it, like I couldn't like stop. It's like it's fluent. It's like goes like really easy, like butter. It's like so much fun. And like, yeah. So I think it's gonna be great. It's gonna be directed by Nick Cannon, who's like one of the biggest editors in Hollywood, and this one is his first films directing. But I think it's gonna be a good one.
Oh, good. And what was the difference with working on a comedy on set versus working on a drama? Did you feel like things were more lighthearted for you?
Yeah, it's more fun, of course. You enjoy it more. You don't like, I need to suffer here now. It's like more fun. It's more fun working on it. It's harder comedies than dramas, I think.
Really? And why do you say that?
Because for comedies, you have certain like rhythm and beats you need to hit, so especially to make the audience laugh, because this is the goal of the film. To make the people laugh. In dramas, I think you need to be truthful and be like easier, and like the smaller the better. But no, in comedies, the bigger and like the truthful, like sometimes you need to exaggerate things to make it work. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to make everyone laugh.
Hopefully, this is
Yeah.
always the goal, right? And it's funny because the plot of that movie is all about basically bumping into someone who can help you. And you were just telling me a story before we started about a Shabbat dinner where you bumped into someone who was pretty famous as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been around like so many Shabbat tables here, which is great. It's really helping me. First of all, not feeling lonely like during like holidays or Friday nights. So some Jewish people recognize me from the film that I did in Israel. Some of them came out here, like in Jewish Film Festival. So they invited me to a Shabbat dinner. Then I'm sitting with them, talking. A lot of them, of course, in the industry. And then someone told me, yeah, I'm one of the writers of Friends. And I'm like, what? Like my sense of humor is because of you. I grew up on your joke. So he kind of like created like me, my personality, which is crazy. And yeah, I had a lot of like incidents like that, like meeting like people that you never thought you would meet here. I met Al Pacino. I'm like, what? I went to a screening, and then a friend of mine invited me to the after party, and then like just me and Pacino together. Like, okay. And of course I was like, bah, bah, bah. And my Israeli accent, the worst Israeli accent came out. I'm big fan, me, you, movie together, yes. I don't know where the accent came from, but he was probably scared. I wouldn't blame him.
That's great. I love that your accent like got thicker as you got like
Well,
really
I think
intense.
it even became Italian for some reason to make him understand me. You, me, actor. I don't know why it became like that.
And I was like, surprise, I do an Italian accent too.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Little did you know you can add that to your resume now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And another big project that's on the horizon for you is a big documentary that you've got coming up that's about battles between ruling empires and houses of nobility.
Yeah.
And what drew you to that project?
First of all, my dream show to be in still is, if the casting director is listening, is Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So this entire like fantasy world of like knights and stuff like that is really like one of my fantasy to be in. So the creator of this film was the creator of the visual effects for Lord of the Rings. So he's really talented and he really knows what he's doing. And my manager sent me like a few of these stuff, and she told me what it's gonna be, and that I'm gonna play St. George, and it's good at night, and they told me the story a little bit. And yeah, of course I wanted to do it. They told me, yeah, we're going to bring you like a real sword, a real like armor and everything. I said, yes. You want to read the script? No, I'm good.
I'm in.
Yeah.
And it's called East of Byzantium, War Dogs and Warrior Saints. And so
Right.
you said you're playing a saint. So this is different now from your kidnapped Israeli soldier role that
Yeah.
you've been doing. So it's like, hooray, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even though like my character is also kind of like
Are you still kidnapped?
You can't escape it.
The
but
good
yeah.
news is, if you ever get kidnapped in real life, you will know exactly what to do,
But
right? Have
people
you ever escaped?
Yeah, but people find it funny. If like I always thought about it in Israel, like even if I get kidnapped for real, first of all, they already have the tape. They don't need to make a new tape for like the terrorist group, and everyone think it's funny. Oh, okay, this guy got kidnapped. Oh my god, yeah.
Which is so
Like
sad.
he was asking for it. He was just
Right?
asking for
You
it.
shouldn't have tried it. You tempted fate.
Yeah.
So sad.
It's like the secret. You put it out there so many times, the universe will say, "Okay, here you go."
You need to hurry up and do another role. Is
Oh, yeah,
basically
yeah.
the lesson here.
Or I'm trying to. They keep on coming to me. But yeah, all the projects are really good, so that's why I keep on saying yes. If it was
Absolutely.
like my original like reaction every time I get a kidnap or a soldier or something like that, like okay, no. But then I read the script, like the film that we're gonna shoot tomorrow. I said no, and then I read the script, and I saw a few of the film of the director. So, okay, I have to do it again.
I'm back in.
Yeah.
And so during this project, you said you were excited to wear the armor and have a sword. Did you
Yeah.
get to do some great fighting scenes then?
A little bit. But I got to get my head beheaded.
Whoa!
So yeah, visual effect. Yeah.
And so how do they do that? Is it just completely, I mean,
It's
clearly your
CGI.
head is attached, so
Well,
I know
listen,
that.
like a few stitches, and I don't have Obamacare, so.
So I mean, do they green screen out your head? How do they make it look like
they
you
use
don't have a
black
head?
screen. I'm not sure how they did it, but yeah. We didn't do anything special. It was just like letting my head down, and then they put the sword and.
And then, so they do have a sword, they do have your head, and
Yeah.
and then obviously it stops, and then in
Yeah.
post, I guess, off goes the head.
Right.
And so did you have to do like a scared face or an expression for when your head rolls off?
No.
It wasn't like that.
No. No, that's like, ooh.
I don't know. These beheadings to me, this is like the creepiest thing.
Yeah,
So
I
feel like,
know. What face do you make when you like the final face you're gonna make? So
Right.
yeah, it's like,
it's like my big acting face, right?
yeah. You wanna do a duck face or what? You know?
That must be the original one, right, from this era.
Exactly.
Now, you've also expanded your performance experiences. You've done your first music video recently, too.
Yeah.
Gavin James's video for Bitter Pill.
Right.
Did working on the set of a music video make you want to sing all the time?
Before that, I wanted to sing all the time. Just that everyone else don't want me to sing all the time, you know. But yeah, it's a beautiful song. Like Bitter Pill is one of the most beautiful songs I heard lately. And yeah, shooting the music video, it was a rough time to me personally, because like as I told you, every time I get something good, something bad happens. So the day, well, I got the call that I booked the job, and then we're gonna shoot tomorrow, and said okay. And I went to celebrate with my friends. Then I get a call from Israel, from my father, that my grandmother just passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I needed to shoot it with this thing in my head. Luckily, it wasn't a happy video. It was a sad song. So.
Luckily.
But luckily, yeah. And of course, the director's like, okay, here's like some water for you to put some tears. And no, it's okay. I'm good with that. Say action, it will come. So it was rough for me. But every time I think about this song, it's like really hard. And the day after we shot it, I flew back to Israel for the funeral. But yeah, it was. But that's that's the life. You as an actor, you need to mix it all together.
And be able to, I guess, also work through something else that's going on personally. Now, music videos are so similar to sort of like short films because
Right.
they're telling, of course, a condensed story. So did you prepare differently for this than you have for some of your bigger film roles?
No, not so much. Because like mainly like music videos don't have any text or lines, so it's just emotion, just be in the moment. And I think music video are really easy, or really like fun to do, especially with the like talented directors or DPs and crew. So yeah, I love doing them. When it's good ideas, it's gonna be something good.
And do you think you would have been as game to sign on if you hadn't loved the song?
I don't know.
Hard to say.
Hard to say. Yeah, of course. No, I think if it's going to be like a lousy, annoying song, I wouldn't do it. I'm not saying yes to everything. Like I'm really picky with what I do.
Right,
But
right.
when they sent me the song, I said, yeah.
That's it. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got such a wide array of projects. You've got the comedy, you've got the drama, you've got campaigns. Is there a particular type of project that you'd like to work on most in the future?
Yeah, I have like a lot of like directors I'm dying to work with. As a kid, like what drew me to acting, like films like Tim Burton style, you know, crazy characters. I haven't got to do that yet, but like I know it's in me.
So like lots of makeup and prosthetics, is that your goal?
Yeah, I love like the Edward Scissorhands, like stuff like that. I'm dying to do. But yeah, also working with a lot of like talented directors like Jacques Audiard or Xavier Dolan, a lot of like the Foreigners one, and Tarantino, of course. Yeah, it's a dream. And to do these complicated characters and to tell stories that haven't been told yet, because lately I feel is personally a lot of films we already saw before, and like they're telling the same stories again and again, and there's so many good scripts around. Like we just need the studio head to just take the heart to take risk with the new story. And so I want to tell stories that haven't been told for complicated characters, and to deliver a message through the film and to affect one person even, like life watching the film. Because I think like films is more than entertainment. Like you can do anything to entertain yourself, but films can be so powerful and change so many minds. And I think that's my goal as an actor in a film. So yeah, this is the kind of projects I want to do.
Absolutely. And there's no better goal and no better outcome than to do something that really changes people's minds and has a great meaning behind it. Thank you so much, Ido, for coming in and talking to me today. This has been great.
Of course, yeah.
Now, where can everyone find you on social media so they can keep up with your projects?
Twitter is Samuel Ido. It's hard, I know, but you'll find it. Instagram, it's Ido_Samuel, and Facebook, it's my name, Ido Samuel.
Okay, great. And I'm Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. You can also find me on YouTube at Zoe Hewitt Hosting, where I do a weekly movie analysis show. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of iTalk Movies, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.